With all the best stories, expert strategy and big names from Planet Poker in just 30 minutes. There's only one place to be. This is the Poker Player Show. Welcome to this month's instalment of the Poker Player Show. This month we interview poker legend Gus Hansen, chat to American superstar Annie Duke about her shocking news, and we send a roving reporter Laura Cornelius to Nottingham to take part in the UKIPT. That's not enough. We talk all things poker with perhaps the biggest emerging talent in the game today. Sam Trickett joins us and is going to help solve some of your poker nightmares. Hello, Sam.
Hi.
Are you ready for this?
I can't wait.
Good. We're going to talk to you more later, but first of all, let's take a look at some of the most important stories of the year so far. She's a WSOP bracelet winner, the apprentice runner-up, a boot camp teacher, and an all-round superwoman. So it was huge news when Annie Duke decided to part ways with online poker site Ultimate Bet after almost a decade of loyal service. Within days of each other, both Annie and Phil Hellmuth decided to terminate their Ultimate Bet contracts. We're delighted to have Annie on the line right now to find out more. So, hi, Annie. So my first question is, you're leaving from Ultimate Bet, obviously caused a bit of a stir. What were your reasons for going?
You know, I felt like I wasn't focusing enough of my time on that brand, and didn't really feel like I was making a positive impact for them anymore. So, you know, that's honestly why I left. It's because obviously the timing with me leaving at the same time as Phil created a lot of sort of conspiracy theories, but people should know that me and Phil's departures were completely coincidental. Phil had been talking to UB since October. You know, I called up on December 19th or 20th, and I turned in my resignation. I wasn't unhappy with my contract. I wasn't unhappy with the brand. I just really wanted to be looking forward to other things that I wanted to be shipping in my life.
So there was obviously some controversy with the site leading up to your departure, which has since been cleared up. But how much influence did that have on your decision?
Obviously, when Phil and I were endorsing before, and there were, you know, untoward things going on with the brand that we obviously didn't know about, and in some sense, I think I felt a lot of guilt over it. Like, I should have known better. I just felt a real obligation to stick around, really, for the players. So all of the stuff that I really had said that I was going to stick around and do, I feel like got done. You know, and I didn't feel like there was a lot more for me to do there outside of just endorsing and having my name on the brand and, you know, sort of doing what I was doing before. And I wasn't finding a lot of satisfaction in that.
There's been a lot of talk about where you might end up. Will you be joining any other sites?
The answer is no. I'm not endorsing anybody. I don't want to right now. So, and that should give people a clue, by the way, that it really, truly didn't have anything to do with UB at all, the reason why I left. Because if it had something to do with UB, I would be walking in Full Tilt store. Most of the very best friends that I have in the world are at Full Tilt. I would die to be over there if I were endorsing. But I don't want to endorse right now.
And what did you make of Prahlad Friedman's decision to join Ultimate Bet?
There are pros and cons to the decision. They don't really have somebody like him on their roster right now, who's a really great cash game player. I think that there are also big pros to the fact that he was willing to sign with them in terms of what his trust level is, you know, with the company. In some ways, it's a con that he was one of the biggest victims as well, if you understand what I'm saying, because I think it seems kind of confusing, and combined with the fact that he was so vocal for so many years that anybody who signs with an online site is a sellout. But look, I know he's a good guy, and I know that the thing that I do know is that he didn't sell out. But my concern with that signing would be that that would be the natural public perception. You
and Phil Hellmuth are pretty big shoes to fill. Where do you think Ultimate Bet should go from here?
I think that the landscape has definitely changed. Prior to Phil leaving, there were no big names to grab anymore. So it seems to me that what's going to have to happen is UB's just going to have to rethink their pro strategy. There isn't anyone they can get to replace them within poker, right? My opinion is either they would have to go with, like, a young online phenom strategy, or I guess they could look outside of the poker community, which is what Stars originally did, right? So what they found Boris Becker, right? I think that you could maybe go that direction as well. And I think those are the two strategic choices that they have right now, because they can't continue down the strategic road that they were on before.
Thank you very much, Annie, for talking to us. Now then, we have a very special guest on the PokerPlayer Show. He's well known for his chiselled good looks, backgammon ability and for being a bit of a daredevil. Last year he won his first WSOP bracelet and the Poker Million. He is also the only player to win 4 WPTs. He's a high-stakes fiend and arguably one of the best players in the game. It's, of course, the incomparable Gus Hansen. Our on-the-road reporter Laura Cornelius caught up with the newly crowned Poker Million champ.
At the poker table, when I sit down, everybody else pretty much consider me as being insane. My mistake along the way was not adjusting enough. I really should not bluff as much as I usually do and should have tightened up a lot. I've done that lately, but a little bit too late. I should have started earlier, so I've definitely made some mistakes along the way, not adjusting enough. Now I've been focusing a little bit on the poker. I've been doing pretty well in some tournaments, obviously the bracelet, and then I think I'll be all right. I had a boxing match about a year and a half, 2 years ago. The only reason to unretire was actually if me and Phil Ivey was at the final table of the main event of the World Series of Poker.
Oh, action Gus.
Then maybe we should have a boxing match, me and Phil Ivey in the MGM Gordon Arena, but we weren't both at the final table, so that hasn't happened. I do like girls. I don't think that's a secret. We can cover that later. I have some really good female friends at the poker table, and there are some amazing players. Obviously, there's the all-round player, Jennifer Harmon. She's been around for a long time. There's Annette Oberstad, very talented. Vanessa Russo. That's just mentioning 3 of them, but there's a lot of really, really good female poker players out there. I like the competition, and I think it's great to see a lot of good female players out there, and there are some really tough ones.
Maybe I could get some tuition from you?
I'm sure we can figure out something, honey.
Right, so Gus Hansen then, what do you think of him?
I think he's not as crazy in the mental as everyone thinks. Like, I watched his Poker Million final, so I get to see every hand that Gus played, and I think he's playing really well at the minute. So
he's won something, $9 million in tournament winnings.
Yeah.
Why? How?
I just think he's got a really good understanding of the game. He understands like tournament strategy. He's really good at playing like weak players as well, and he's just got a lot of gambling in him and a lot of heart. He's going to run a lot of big bluffs and put all his chips on the line if he feels it's the right play, the right time. And he's got everything you need to be a tournament player. He's got all the heart and the understanding of the game, so that's why he's just consistently gets good results.
So, Sam, congratulations on the last 12 months. Did very well. Talk to me about the Aussie Millions, because that kind of capped it all off, right?
Yeah, well, that was this year, but still, the last 12 months for me have been unbelievable. I've had a lot of big results, and I've got a couple of titles now, which is always nice for the CV. It was nice. I was really disappointed to come second in the 250,000 because I had a 4-1 chip lead going heads up and was a big favourite to win there. But it didn't go my way. I didn't really ever get a good hand heads up, and he always had the best hand. I didn't play too well either. I regret a few things I did, and I didn't get the second title I wanted. But still, looking back, still a great series for me.
And WSOP, talk to me about. Is it 7? You've cashed 7 times, right?
In the World Series? I don't know. I don't actually know how many times I've cashed, but
not quite got close to the bracelet.
No, I've got really close too many times now. I've come 2nd, 4th, 7th, and like 15th. And when I come 15th, I got really unlucky. I got 2 outed for all the chips basically. And so I've had a lot of. I've been in a lot of positions to think that I'm going to win a bracelet, and just I ain't quite got there yet.
When is it going to happen for you?
This summer.
This summer.
Yeah, I'm on a heater now, and whatever I touch is turning to gold at the minute. So hopefully that'll result in a bracelet.
Nice work. What else have you got planned for this year?
Just plenty of poker, to be honest, and plenty of holidays and just in between, and just try and do other stuff like play a bit of golf and a bit of tennis and just generally keep fit and
just generally have a really nice lifestyle.
Yeah, that's like what I always love sport, and I don't want to get carried away and just like degen away all the time, sat in my bedroom playing online poker and just going to every tournament here. So as it happens, I don't really play that many tournaments. like, I didn't play a tournament 3 or 4 months before the Aussie Millions. I just have phases where I just don't play. I'll just play some cash games and relax and get on with life. But I'm going to play a lot of tournaments over the next 12 months.
So while you're down under, you also took part in the largest buy-in event in history, right?
Yeah. I played the 250k buy-in. I was chip leader like right from the off, and all the way through I ran extremely good. I never ran really better than that in any other tournament. I didn't really have to play well. I just played okay, and the cards were just doing all the work for me. And I got a heads up with a 4-1 chip lead and looked really good, looked promising that I was going to ship it, and then I didn't. Eric Seidel's a great player, and he pretty much had the best hand every time. I didn't play too well either, and as a result, I came second.
Have to have a little rematch with him.
Yeah.
Right, that's all we've got time for in part 1, but don't go anywhere because in part 2 we tell you who won last month's competition. We see how Laura got on at the UKIPT in Nottingham, and Sam will be giving us some top strategy advice on fixing your tournament leaks. See you after break. Welcome back to the PokerPlayer Show. Still to come, we see how Laura fared at the UKIPT in Nottingham. Poker prodigy Sam Trickett gives us his tips on fixing your tournament leaks. And we look ahead to the big tournaments in our poker diary. But first, let's have a look at some of the questions you've been asking. Well, you keep sending your letters, and every month we will try and answer them with the help of our guests. So, Sam, firstly, Will, aka Anthro1, wrote, I'm having many problems reacting to donk bet situations. For example, I raise with ace-king from middle position. The big blind calls and then bets the flop when I've missed the flop. 4-7-2 rainbow board, for example. How do I react to these situations, and does my decision depend on how good or bad my opponent is?
I think it definitely depends on how good your opponent is and how experienced he is. For example, I'm going to go ahead and raise a lot of donk bets. Say if it comes 4-2-7 rainbow, he's probably defended with like some low cards like that and just like one pair type hand, because he'd probably go for a check raise with 2 pair. So if he's like an inexperienced, I'm just going to probably, if I haven't got anything like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, I'm just going to go ahead and just raise the flop and hopefully take it down, like represent a big pair. But for example, say if the player's good, I might take a more advanced lines, just like say call, and just call or just fold. I don't mind just folding because it's not too often that a good player is going to lead anyway. It's tight to do the sets, but if I was going to take an advanced line, I'd like to call and play the hand out as if I had a big pair myself, because that's how I play a big pair against a good player. I had no point raising because they're just going to fold out hands that you beat. So yeah, it's all player dependent, I think, with the donk bet.
Thank you. Right, next up, Rowena Berry wrote in to say, poker pros always seem to talk about natural tells that help them to suss what their opponent is holding. I've always found these so-called signs elusive. What are the main tells to indicate a good or bad hand?
It's really hard because everyone's different. A lot of it's kind of the way people act during the hand. Like, for example, the classic one is normally if someone's giving you a speech during the hand or like trying to talk to you whilst they're the one betting, they've normally got the hand because they're so confident. They're confident enough to like speak about and like give the speech and talk to you. But like if they're bluffing, they haven't really got the confidence to speak about you because they're kind of nervous within themselves, so they're going to be a lot more quieter. So that's the classic one for like inexperienced players anyway. Like if they're running the speech during the hand, they're probably going to show you the hand a lot of the time. So it's a good time to fold.
Do you reckon poker players should always go and have a 1-to-1 with Darren Brown?
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I wouldn't like to play him heads up even, no matter how good he is.
He must be able to just suss everyone's tells.
Yeah, he must know everything. I'm scared of that guy.
Yeah. And finally, Andrew Brody wrote, what do you make of trash talkers at the table? Is it advisable to wind up your fellow players to make them tilt after a bad hand? Or is it best to stay quiet and avoid the inevitable wrath of your opponents?
It's very rarely I'll like deliberately try and wind someone up at the table. Partly because I just don't want to be like that guy that's just mean and just try to wind people up. It's not why I play poker. Every now and then I'll like show a bluff for certain reasons. Like I don't show too many bluffs, but I'll show a bluff for a specific reason. For example, if I think the guy's like going to pay me off next time, or maybe change his like really tilt him and put him off his game. But I'll never like needle him with speech and stuff like that because I just don't like the bad atmosphere. I'd rather just have like a more healthy environment.
Have you ever had that done to you?
Yeah, people do it all the time. It's so common in poker. Like you get slow rolled and people give you speech. Like they rub you down after they just beat you in a big pot. But as long as like the more experience you get, you realise it's just not to bother you and don't it like put you off your game, and you're just going to end up with the money in the long run anyway. So you'll have the last laugh. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Here at the PokerPlayer Show, we strive to bring you the best poker content from across the globe. This month, we got our feisty on-the-road reporter, Laura Cornelius, to pack her suitcase in preparation for a grand journey. We entered her into the UKIPT in Nottingham, and here's how she got on.
Hi, I'm Laura Cornelius, and this is the PokerPlayer Show on the road. Except today, well, we're not on the road, we're on the railway track, and we're heading up to Nottingham, home not only to Robin Hood and Ice Age art, but also one of Europe's leading card rooms. It's the Dusk Till Dawn Casino. And this weekend sees the UKIPT take place. And guess what? I'm playing. Well, they don't trust me quite enough to buy me in for the £500 main event, but I will be playing tonight at 8 p.m. in a side event, which gives me about 7 hours to swat up and practice my poker face. So we're here now at the hotel room, just doing a little bit of preparation before this evening's tournament. Now, players like Daniel Negreanu can tell exactly what cards you have by looking into your eyes. I'm not going to take any chances. Nah, I don't think so. So finally, we've made it. We're here. We're at Nottingham's Dusk Till Dawn Casino for the UKIPT. Now, I need to get me some tips. So we're here at the Dusk Till Dawn Casino with the resident poker queen herself. It's Miss Liv Beret. Hello, Liv.
Hello, Laura.
And tonight, I need a few tips. I'm playing the side event, 100 No Limit Hold'em.
The first thing I would suggest is, if you're completely inexperienced, just take your time. The first few levels don't matter that much. Just sit and observe, get used to, all the betting techniques. Yeah, just be patient, observe your table, take your time. Then I'd say the second thing that you could use most to your advantage is your femininity.
I was going to ask that question. I was going to say, being a woman, do you ever use your femininity to distract the other males at the table?
Yeah, basically, poker is a game of using whatever advantages you can have, be it if you're mathematical or if you're beautiful. Be charming, be nice to people at the table. Chances are they'll be nice to you back.
What's your name?
Laura.
Laura.
Cornelius.
I'll look out for that in the future, guys.
Well.
So be prepared to bully them a little bit when you need to.
Just be aggressive, just play pots in position, and don't defend your blinds with marginal hands.
I went all in a little bit too early in the tournament. I think I've got to calm down a bit. I had pocket sixes and lost to pocket kings, but it's fair enough. It wasn't a bad beat, he was way ahead. But I'm still in the game, it's okay. Just waiting. So we've just got to the break. I'm quite happy to make it here, to be honest. I'm a little bit short stacked. I've got just over 2,000 chips left, and the average stack's probably about 6,000, so 10 big blinds. I've got to wait, really, just to shove it all in, I think, when I've got a decent hand. I don't think I've done anything wrong so far as what I can tell. I've been calling when I should have called, raising when I should have raised. I've just been beaten by better cards. Simple as that. I was all right. I took most of this man to my left's chips just a while ago, and now it's getting a bit funny. He's wanting to take them back off me, so I let him have the two back. And now I think we've got a bit of a war on between us, so yeah.
Nice meeting you.
That's it.
Lucky.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Taxi for Laura.
So, after about 3 hours and 10 minutes of playing, I bust out after probably 45 people, so yeah, I am out. I'm quite happy about how I played, though. I think I did everything, as I said. Right up until the point that I went out, I got pocket tens. I had about 3,500 in chips, so the time came. Someone had raised 700 before, so I thought, right, I'll take this. To be honest, I thought he'd fold. Didn't fold, called me, had king, queen, and watched the flop. King came up on the flop, so that was me pretty much done and dusted. But as I said, I'm happy with how I did, and yeah, I've got the bug, and I'm going to be back for a lot more, I think.
Brilliant stuff from Laura there. Poker stardom surely awaits. Well, Sam, we've talked about you. We've had your views on Gus Hansen, and you've helped us solve some of our viewers' poker problems. But we're not done with you yet. No. We're now going to have a little look at poker leaks, and you're going to tell us how to fix them. OK, so I'm going to go with the first one. Short stack shortfalls. So many players blind away too much as a short stack, and they give themselves zero chance of winning the tournament. How do you fix this?
I don't really know. To be honest, it's hard to say without giving an example of how someone's playing. But I tend to just not try my best not to go short stack. But if I do, and say when you get around 20 big blinds, you should probably start looking to re-raising all in to maintain your 20 big blind stack. So like, look who's playing the most aggressive and maybe opening a few too many pots pre-flop, and if he's opening too much, maybe it's a good spot for you to re-raise all in with a hand that has some equity, like 9, 10, Queen 10, all the high card hands, maybe any ace. If you feel that he's going to fold a lot because he's opening too much, it's probably a good spot to try and pick up some chips, and just try and find spots really where you think you're going to win the pot uncontested.
Thank you. Next, playing too tight early. With tons of fish in the opening stages of tournaments, many players are tight and fail to exploit this. How do you stop this leak?
If you're going to get like action from the fish when you've got a good hand, I think it's good to just sit there tight and wait for a hand and get maximum value, and make sure you get the maximum value from your hand when you do make a big hand. So like, I'd encourage to play tight earlier on when there's fish around. I mean, you can gamble a little bit pre-flop with like few suited connected hands that play well deep stacked, and try and like win a big pot. But I wouldn't go too crazy pre-antes.
Right, so number 3, ignoring the stack sizes around you. Many people fail to understand the importance of their opponent's chip stacks. What advice do you have here?
I think it's pretty important to be aware of everyone's stack size. For example, if you're going to open late position and you've got a load of stacks to your left that have like less than 20 big blinds or around the 20 big blind mark, probably a good idea not to raise, because they're going to like re-raise all in pretty light because they have the perfect stack to do that. So just being aware of everyone's stack. Right,
number 4, failing to go for the win. Many people will play cautiously in order to go up the cash ladder rather than go for the win. How do you get that winning mentality?
I don't think it's too bad a thing to do. On about final tables where people will try and ladder up to the top 3, and then they'll probably start gambling. But if you're an accomplished pro and like a confident one, you can kind of realise and see who's doing that at the table. So if you try and get a feel for who's laddering, who's not, and you can put like maximum pressure on the players that are trying to ladder, because you know what they're trying to do, and they're going to like fold a really tight range. So you can play really aggressively. So for myself, I'm never one to ladder. I just try and make the best decision at the right time for what I think is going to just for that specific hand.
Number 5, horrific bet sizing. Raising too much on bluffs and failing to maximise value with poor bet sizing is a problem for many players. How do you deal with bet sizing?
With bet sizing, it all depends on the opponent you're in the pot with and how he perceives you as a player. For example, if you like flop top pair, the way I play really aggressively, and I'm going to be playing a lot of pots, and my image is a bit shot. So if I flop top pair, I'm probably going to go ahead and bet big like every street, and just try and let him think that I'm bluffing, and he's probably willing to call me lighter than I do if I just value bet him the whole way. He might feel like he's getting milked and be able to make a solid fold. But if you keep him on the back foot, like where they don't really know what you have, or they tend to call, especially with a player like myself who's just bluffing a lot of pots, that I'd like to bet big and to try and make it look like a bluff.
Thanks, Sam. Got through it. It's another packed month in the poker calendar, and as usual, we've picked out some of the top events. If you've ever wanted to play true deep stack poker, Luton is the place to be from the 3rd to the 6th of March. The G Casino is hosting the English Deep Stack Poker Championships, where you can get an amazing 50,000 chips, and entry is a very reasonable £550. If you're knocked out early, why not travel up to Nottingham for the Dusk Till Dawn monthly deep stack from the 5th to the 6th of March. The £300 main event guarantees a whopping £80,000 prize pool. If Luton and Nottingham aren't quite glam enough for you, get sun, ski and poker at EPT Snowfest in the Austrian resort of Hinterglemm from the 20th to the 25th of March. Did we mention that last year's first prize was over $600,000? Well, that's almost it from us, but before we go, we did ask you last month, what is Daniel Negreanu also known as? And the answer is Kid Poker. Congratulations to Kevin Fitzpatrick. That signed baseball cap is now on its way to you. This month we have another great competition. This natty-looking device is called the PokerPod, and it's perfect for any aspiring online players out there. You can get your hands on this for absolutely nothing, and it's also signed. Yes, this is actually your signature, Sam. It looks like a giant blob.
I tried my best.
He tried his best. Just by answering the simple question, which famous online player goes by the name of Durr? So all you need to do is send your answer to pokerplayer@pokerchanneleurope.com. Well, that's it, and we're going to be back next month with more news and views from the world of poker. Thank you very much to you, Sam.
Thank you for having me.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I enjoyed it.
Good. And we'll be back next time on the PokerPlayer Show. Bye-bye for now.